you spend £200 million? I'm Sorrel, and I'm back for season 2 of the insanely lavish Rich Beyond My Wildest Dreams podcast, where hilarious guests get their hands on an imaginary £200 million jackpot on Euro Millions from the National Lottery.
I would buy tickets to go and see Backstreet Boys in the Sphere. I'd buy the Sphere! What are we talking about?
The bougier, the better.
Turned into a lunatic with all this money. Flat by Europe.
So get ready for confetti cannons, champagne, giant checks, and some of the most outrageous ways a person could possibly spend a £200 million fortune.
Jacuzzi karaoke.
Jacuzzi
Karaoke.
You can get that Euro Millions feeling every Friday by searching for Rich Beyond My Wildest Dreams on all podcasting apps, YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok.
Acast recommends.
Hello, I'm Harriet Kemsley.
And I'm Amy Gledhill.
We want to tell you all about our podcast, Single Ladies in Your Area.
We are recently single and in our 30s, trying to navigate the dating scene.
But as it turns out, our USP seems to be that we're bad at it.
No, we are trying our best.
And that is not good enough.
And that is also not good enough, but we are learning.
Yes.
We're learning from experts. We're learning from friends.
That's Single Ladies in Your Area, out every Friday, wherever you get your podcasts.
Acast is the home of podcasting,
including such shows as
The Logbooks, the High Performance Podcast, and the one you're listening to
right now.
Hello, you're listening to Tony Slattery's Rambling Club, and you're most welcome.
Hello, and welcome again to the joyous world of Tony Slattery's Rambling Club. My name is Paul Carmichael, and with me is Alan Lear. Hello, Alan.
Hello, Paul.
How are you?
Stouter boots on today. The blisters should be less.
Absolutely, and here with a massive rucksack full of God knows what is our friend and president of the Rambling Club, Mr. Tony Slattery. Tony, how are you?
Good afternoon, good evening, depending on your time zone. You've got a lovely beard, so have I. Alan hasn't. That's us for you. Bye now. Bye. Take good care. Don't take bad care. That's stupid. Take good care.
Good care.
Let's on with the show.
On with the show. The show, of course, as you no doubt aware, is that we have with us our portable bingo machine that comes with us on all our rambles. So, if we're ready, gentlemen, we will spin. It just throws balls at...
Yes,
Oh, don't we all?
We do.
it's like being in a Soho nightclub.
Well, what are you doing?
You know what?
Is this adults only?
Here we go. This machine, it's meant to be...
Tony's enchanted bingo machine. A curious contraption of cogs, levers and glowing buttons that hums with ominous energy. This machine generates 3 completely random numbers. These numbers are fed directly into the Dewey Decimal System, the arcane reference system by which books and their contents are categorized. In this way, the bingo machine conjures from thin air a topic of conversation so enthralling, so wildly unexpected, that it leaves the members of the Rambling Club both bewildered and vaguely excited. Thus, another evening is saved from the brink of boredom, thanks to Tony's marvellous, possibly haunted and entirely inexplicable bingo machine.
Oh, here we are, and the numbers for this ramble are...
6, 9, 3.
693, and that means that the subject is... specific materials and purposes. Oh. Now, they've got to be specific.
Right.
Materials and purposes. In terms of where we are on the old Dewey Decimal System, we've got metalworking, we've got hardware and household appliances, furnishings. So, specific materials and purposes, presumably around the house. Well, you don't, I suppose, use your washing machine to cook.
I I mean, if it's materials, it's presumably the stuff that all your household stuff is made out of. So principally in the modern era, we're talking Swedish MDF.
Yes. Yeah. And its purpose?
Everything. They make bookcases, tables, wardrobes.
They absolutely do. That's a good point. I can't do flat pack furniture. I'm terrible with it. I put a Christmas tree up, and that took me 6 hours. And I once superglued myself. To the garden because we have a paved garden, and I was out there trying to make a robot for my eldest out of cardboard boxes, which he seemed to think it was very important for me to do. So I went out there with all of these cardboard boxes, super glue, paint and so on a hot day. I also took with me a bottle of port. Now the combination of the two somehow led to me eventually just putting all my weight on my thigh, under which was the super glue. And after that I super glued myself to the floor, and had to just wait there until I was freed several hours later, by which time I was sunburned and pissed out my mind.
I have to say, I think using super glue for cardboard was overkill in the first place.
It probably was, but I assumed that it was going to get a fair beating, this robot, so I thought...
Also, super glue doesn't work on cardboard because cardboard's too absorbent.
Fair point.
Yeah, it has to be a non-permeable membrane.
Well, this is ridiculous. We're talking about specific materials and purposes. Now, surely the purpose of glue is to glue something like cardboard rather than me.
Yes, but you couldn't glue jelly to jelly.
Well, there's a persistent rumour, isn't there, that super glue was originally developed as a kind of bandageless bandage. That it was developed during the Second World War for the purpose of gluing people's holes shut when they'd been shot. And that's why it's more efficacious at sticking skin to skin than anything else.
Quite well. You sit on a sore point. Not sit on... You don't sit on my sore point, Alan. You've hit on a sore point, and that's...
Do you want me to glue it shut for you?
That's what they did at the hospital just some months ago when they sliced through my eyeball with a scalpel. They used the... two types of super glue to rejoin the cornea. But yeah, super glue. If you have had your eye sliced open by a scalpel, then let them put super glue in because it does the trick.
Can I just say, I'm assuming this is a medical grade of super glue. Do not use everyday super glue to glue your wounds shut because everyday super glue contains potassium cyanide.
I'm feeling even less happy about the fact that I superglued myself to the floor now.
Yes.
I think it's not dangerous if you accidentally use it externally, but I wouldn't expose any of your internal membranes to it. I think that's probably a bad plan.
Right, okay.
They called it super glue.
Yeah.
Do we think it was something else?
No, it was probably a medicalised form of super glue.
Yeah.
Right. The molecules are pretty much the same, but perhaps they take out the cyanide bit.
Or maybe it's something to do with the chirality of the molecules.
Quite.
It's a thing in chemistry, apparently, depending on whether the chirality means whether they're arranged left or right-handedly.
Oh, okay.
And apparently lots of chemicals have very different attributes depending on their chirality.
That's right.
Yeah.
So you get left-handed and right-handed chemicals?
Yes.
Dextroisomers and sinister isomers.
Yes.
Blimey.
Yes, that's one of those weird things that's happened in our language. Sinister, of course, is Latin for left hand. So sinister, untrustworthy people it comes from left-handed people, prejudice against left-handed people. And ambidextrous, of course, literally means having two right hands.
Yep.
Oh, God, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow. Of course, if you were left-handed 400 years ago, they just believed you'd cavorted with the devil. But that was basically what they thought for anything unusual.
And that's why Catholics are called left-footers.
Oh, is that why?
Yeah, because they think it's an evil thing to be a left-footer.
Well, you know that idea of when you step foot onto the stage from backstage and which foot you put forward. In Elizabethan times, it was code. Because, of course, for actors, it was the opportunity to pull members of the audience quite a lot as well. But essentially, if you stepped foot onto the stage with your right foot and you crossed the threshold with your right foot, you are saying, I am straight and available. If you stepped foot with your left foot, you were saying, I am gay and available.
Good Lord.
It was a little signage that they would use. as actors.
That's interesting.
Really?
'Cause
Yep,
I
really.
would have assumed that it just which foot you were supposed to use depended on which wing you were entering from.
Nope,
You should use your upstage leg first, I'd have thought.
Well, no, you
The
always...
important thing is to be on the stage.
Yes, yeah.
So you can do your acting and then get off.
Preferably
And
sober
not
enough
worry
to
about
stand.
what pervs are in the audience, trying to buy you off.
Well, yes, you would want to avoid them. What was the subject?
It was materials and their specific materials and their uses.
And their uses.
Formica.
Go on.
All right.
Okay.
So
I'm
you
interested.
shouted at me then.
Sorry, Tony. I was
Go
excited.
on.
I was excited about Formica.
Are we dedicating this? Is that the dedication for the episode? It's Formica. We're all such a fan of Grace Kelly.
You'll have to give me a bit more on that. I'm sorry. Sometimes your mind is so opaque.
Mika is a singer who had a hit with Grace Kelly.
Oh, young person's pop talk. Well, that hasn't come up on the machine yet.
No.
Sorry, I'm sure you'll manipulate it. Who knows? We might get E17.
Yeah,
Or-
that's the
or
young
S-
person's pop, isn't it? He's 17.
Or Spania or someone.
Didn't the lead singer of E17 manage to run over himself with his own car?
Yes.
Yes,
He
that's it.
did.
Yeah, that's remarkable. There's a blue plaque somebody put up there, that's it, where it happened, a fake blue plaque dedicated to it.
Yes.
I rather like.
Yes, E17 was a wonderful pop band, but they imploded. But they had that most wonderful song.
Stay another. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lovely song.
It is.
Yeah, it is.
Now, Formica, that's right. Formica was not. It was tested in the 50s for not the outside lining, but one of the inside parts of Sputnik. Now, I read about this in one of those long ago books, but the molecular formula for Formica had been synthesized, as it were, by the Russians in the Cold War until it became, as it generally is used now, as a vinyl covering which is wiped clean and fresh on those winter days when you might spray stuff on it to get rid of, I don't know, dead rats or anything like that.
Yersinia pestis.
For Yersinia pestis, you need a very strong alcohol-based disinfectant.
But that makes sense because, of course, there's one of the things that surprise people when they find it out about the space industry is that they use quite a lot of ceramics. Because for their weight, ceramics are very, very heat-proof. So they use them on re-entry shielding and that sort of thing for the parts of the spacecraft that are going to be hit by the atmosphere friction in re-entry.
So in a way, we can't sort of think of anything that's just got this one very specific use, because as you say, basically we're using pottery to come back to Earth.
Yeah.
This is a tricky subject.
It's weird, isn't it? That one of the world's oldest material sciences is used in space exploration.
Yeah.
It's quite peculiar.
It's amazing. It's amazing.
Well, carbon,
Yeah.
diamonds, and then you go on to boron, which for drilling through, going back to Quatermass and the pits, they can't get through with a diamond drill. They can't even get through with a boron.
That's
drill.
right, yes.
Wasn't there something in the news just the other day about an experimental use of diamonds where they're irradiating diamonds to get them to store an electrical charge so they can be used as batteries that are essentially 500 years. They have a life of 500 years, something like that.
That's right, and also to do with the molecular reconfiguration of graphene and graphite and diamond to make it into a sort of man-made super fibre, which will go through anything.
That's kind of like we were saying about the chirality of molecules as well, because graphite and graphene and diamond are all carbon molecule lattices. It's just the lattice is in a different formation. The material comes out with very different properties.
Yeah.
How would Would you spend £200 million? I'm Sorrel, and I'm back for season 2 of the insanely lavish Rich Beyond My Wildest Dreams podcast, where hilarious guests get their hands on an imaginary £200 million jackpot on Euro Millions from the National Lottery.
I would buy tickets to go and see Backstreet Boys in the Sphere. I'd buy the Sphere! What are we talking about?
The bougier, the better.
Turned into a lunatic with all this money. Flat by Europe.
So get ready for confetti cannons, champagne, giant checks, and some of the most outrageous ways a person could possibly spend a £200 million fortune.
Jacuzzi karaoke.
Jacuzzi
Karaoke.
You can get that Euro Millions feeling every Friday by searching for Rich Beyond My Wildest Dreams on all podcasting apps, YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok.
Acast recommends.
Hey up, this is Ian Smith.
And Amy Gledhill.
And we want to tell you all about our podcast.
Northern News.
But this isn't a news podcast.
No way. We're two Northerners living in London, and every week we catch up on the weirdest, most bizarre local news from up north.
And we've got special guests. We're talking about people like Phil Wang, Jessica Knappett, Ed Campbell, and Ross Noble, who joined us in the studio.
Woohoo!
Yeah.
That's Northern News, out every Thursday, wherever you get your podcasts.
Acast is the home of podcasting,
including such shows as
The Logbooks, the High Performance Podcast, and the one you're listening to
right now.
They probably use carbon fibre in the space program as well, don't they? Because
sure
it's
do.
lightweight, it's more expensive, but it's lighter and stronger than steel, which is why they use it in racing cars these days as well.
We've had fibre optic broadband put in recently. It's shit.
Is it?
Is it really?
Disappointingly shit.
Oh.
Yeah.
But, I mean, the problem with fibre optic broadband is that it's all in bits. It's a bit like the railway network. It's not one thing. It's loads of little different bits of different things that are all owned by other people. So even if your house has fibre optic broadband, if the link from your house to the telephone exchange is still copper wire, it's not going to be any faster than if it was than if you had copper wire in your house.
So Sky have found a very clever way of getting more money out of me for very little.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, clever buggers.
Yeah.
Yes. It'll be stream next.
Well, yes. Well, it's like the thing the Monty Python boys said, isn't it? They did a spoof martial arts thing, and they said, gain up to £50 in weight, gain up to 6 inches in height, become up to as many times more sexually attractive as you like, provided you realise that the phrase "up to" clearly includes the number 0. And this is what a lot of the broadband people do: is you can get up to 120 megabytes, but up to might mean you get fuck all.
Yes.
And back in the day, Princess Anne's favourite car, she was caught speeding with it,
Famously,
many times. A scimitar. It was called, a very beautiful car made of fiberglass. And that's why it could go so far fast and weigh so little.
Well, the old Reliant Robins were made out of fiberglass. That's why they were so
didn't
cheap.
go very far.
No, they didn't, because they were basically a motorbike engine powering 3 wheels with a fiberglass shell around it, which is that they were always falling over because they weren't stable and they were so light they couldn't weigh them in a high wind. They couldn't weigh themselves down. But the thing about them was they were so light that if they fell over, you could get out and just push them up again.
Yeah,
you could probably have strapped a bit of string to the top and used one as a handbag if you really wanted to.
Well, what? Or Formica.
Yeah.
Have we exhausted that one, do you think?
I think we might have.
I think we... So here we are at our next destination, and the numbers are...
8, 7, 2.
872. 872, and that is... collections of Latin prose or poetry.
Pose or poetry?
Pose. All right, let's go
Latin
with...
pose. That's what it says.
No,
pose.
we're going to go with Latin poses.
Right, Latin poses.
Right. One of them, arms stretched out. It's a dance move. It's called a catalumbus.
Oh.
Yeah. And no, this is true. I found my overlap. The catalumbus is part of It's a ritualistic dance in praise of the emperor, and it's sometimes done in an arena as a sort of warm-up to... You think I'm making this up?
No,
Please.
no.
No, it's, the brain is working better, just trying to retrieve it. It's like the girls at American football.
No, well, you're absolutely right. The games,
the cheerleaders.
Yeah. No,
That's right.
The games events in the Roman games.
That's right.
Would have it would be like a variety show. There would be a number of different things. So there'd be you get the Christians versus the Lions, which isn't a real fight. It's just a bit of a giggle. All the Christians get eaten, and that's a warm up.
Yes, it is. It's hugely funny.
Yeah, that's a warm up before the proper gladiators come and have a set to.
But I'm saying before that,
you'd have poetry, you'd have dance.
It was Grecian, Greco-Roman, but the Grecians were, inventing it, and many expressive dance moves. So where did that come from? You mentioned Greek.
Well, it's like
Dionysus.
It's like the Olympics, isn't it? Because the original Olympics had events for poetry and sculpture as well as...
Well, quite.
Yeah.
But what we're feeding off is your initial mispronunciation
Latin
of
pose.
prose.
Yeah,
and
prose.
Yeah.
I'm happy with prose.
Yeah.
No,
we can get onto prose if you like.
We can, but no, so you've got to go right back there to... That's where we go back 346 BC, which is the Dionysia, and that's where you get the competitions of dance and singing, and then someone goes, well, what happens if you combine those? You're singing while you walk. So musical theatre is invented before straight acting, which I always find quite a curiosity. But
wonderful retrieval, because you're an expert in these things.
But,
you are.
Well, but I also
I think that makes sense, because I think, as a species, we've probably had ritualistic singing longer than we've had recitation. Singing is more natural than somebody writing something, memorising it, and rereading it. So I think that musical theatre before theatre actually makes a certain amount of sense.
Of course it does,
Yeah.
and that also involves the oral tradition, where things weren't been done, they handed down. It didn't have to make sense. Often it was moaning and then harmonisation around a fire. Sorry, I'm turning fundamentalist Christian here. Yes, there were babies and dinosaurs, and people were moaning, and there was Jesus in his dress, full-length frock and a beard, being nice. And then there was Dionysus. He was having a stag party.
There you go.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Bacchus was behind the bar, free bar all night. That was it. And then there was dancing.
The oral tradition is presumably why the original great epics that come down to us from various cultures, including the ancient Greeks, such as Homer's Odyssey, but including the skaldic traditions of the Nordic, the sagas, are all in rhyme.
Yeah.
And would have been played with, someone would have played a lute or a lyre or a similar instrument and recited a poem, because it's just easier to remember something if it's got a rhythm and it rhymes.
Yeah, you've got that. I mean, a lovely thing that I love to do with that is if you were to go back and watch a Greek play, then the only people who are really doing any bloody work are the chorus, because they've got to be off book. And of course, they're providing everything that the actors don't have to do. The actors can read it, and their emotions are performed by somebody else, which is such an interesting hierarchy to it.
Also, you just brought a sense of memory back. When I was at Cambridge, and the college I was at, Trinity Hall, had a playroom where things were. And I was in a production of The Rope by Plautus, and the director had a brother who specialised in making masks. And he made these wonderful masks, which are really genuine. And so we all had to perform in masks. And so it was a matter of... we said the words in translation, obviously, but then had to express them, and no one could see our real faces, which of course is where the word persona comes from, which is widely used in general, talking about someone's persona, and it actually relates to the mask, and it means sound coming through, because the only thing is through the gap.
Persona.
Persona.
Yeah,
That's right. That's where it comes from. The
Am I right in thinking that the mouthpieces in the masks would have an amplifying effect?
It's the shape.
Yeah.
They're shaped like a funnel. Well, amplification in those amphitheatres is just stunning. If you go and look now, right, all around, what you'll see are these great big circular holes cut out in the structure all over it. And what they didn't used to be empty, they would have glass jars, like massive jam jars, pushed into them.
So they would reverberate with the sound.
You shout up there, it would bounce down there, bounce, and fill the space.
Astonishing.
It's you're talking about 3,000 years ago.
Yeah.
But then, whenever you think, to go back to what you were saying about oral tradition, Tony, there's a wonderful programme 20-odd years ago now, Simon Sharma, when he did his history of Britain.
Wow.
And he starts off in the Stone Age, and he says, we've got to put all of these myths to bed. And of course, he goes up to Scarabray, up in the Orkneys, a Neolithic Stone Age, proper Stone Age settlement. And it's got a lovely equivalent of a Welsh dresser, so they could show things off. It's got heating. And it even had indoor lavatories with drainage. And we're talking about the Stone Age. But you can imagine then people sat down with that oral tradition of sharing stories, but of course no way of writing them down.
Right, and a lot of this, this isn't lavatorial humour. It's a lot of the oral tradition, especially the Romans, were good at funneling water and sewage. So a lot of people would sit down, regardless of status, and it was in a circle, and they'd put the water through it, and they would sit down and evacuate their bowels while telling stories to each other. The only sort of icky thing, and this has been found, is that to wipe their bottoms, they shared a long stick with some kind of sponge on it.
Yeah.
So obviously that was then. I still do it now, but then I'm, a romantic and a classicist.
Well, the Romans, when they invaded, discovered that was what we were doing, and they introduced one brilliant little addition to that, which is next. So you're still basically all going together, and you've still got the sponge on a stick. But next to every single toilet cubicle, you've got a jug with vinegar in, and you would
I didn't know that.
The vinegar disinfects it.
Oh, thank you for clearing that up, because otherwise, if I without that piece of information, I would just be, it would just be some kind of, I don't know, underground video with a fecal theme, scat, shit sharing, and I'm pleased you mentioned the vinegar. Also, look, you sent me that lovely video you did of Chester. Chester. I'm sorry, it was wonderful.
Oh, the tether block.
That's right, the tether block.
In the
But also,
amphitheatre.
the tether block, which was tying a goat to, wasn't it?
For Dionysus, it was the goat, because then you get trageoidia when you cut its throat, the goat song.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
But when it could be used, I mean, Chester wasn't used in combat, so far as anyone is aware, but it was also somewhere, because obviously you could watch people being chased around by a lion, or you could just tie them there and the lion could get straight to them. That was the other reason it would be used.
Oh dear.
There's a city called Ephesus in Turkey, which I've seen, which is a beautifully preserved Roman settlement. It's in the middle of the desert, so there's very little in the way of water erosion, that sort of thing. So it's all gorgeously preserved. It's got a huge amphitheatre in the middle, and this amphitheatre is so well preserved that up until the middle of the 1980s, they were using it for pop concerts. And the reason it stopped is because the Police played there. And Sting had his bass guitar turned up so high that the foundations of the amphitheatre moved 3 millimetres.
Oh.
And it was no longer safe to use after that.
Well, I always thought Roxanne was a very controversial song. Prostitution, and that goes back to the oldest profession widely practiced in ancient Rome and Greece, and probably in the Neanderthals as well, which we've talked about before.
Oh, exchanging sex for barter must be as old as the hills. I mean, it's
as old as the hills.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, there are plenty of animal species that do it, aren't there?
What? Have sex for money? Yes. I don't think so. I really don't.
Not literal money, but for nesting goods or for pretty stones. You get birds.
Oh, that's lovely. Oh, yeah, that's courting procedures.
Yes.
Where's the lovely man? bird comes in and drops a pebble into the nest of the ladybird.
That's right.
Not a ladybird, the feminine bird. As to say, will you have sex with me? I'll bring you another twig.
Yeah, that's
so
right.
it's basically a kind of monetary coercion.
Yeah, it's a sort of transactional mating
it's paying
rights,
for
isn't it?
sex.
Yeah, it's one of the sweet things about social media is they have a term for when you find a video and you want to show all your friends. It's called pebbling, because penguins give each other pretty pebbles as gifts.
Yes.
Yeah.
Same thing. They can't fly.
You were thinking of pebble dashing, which is different.
I was, Alan, yes.
Yes, I was thinking of pebbles from the Flintstones.
Oh.
Which is lovely.
Yes.
My first car was a Morris Minor, and it had a big hole, and I didn't know. I bought it for 250 quid. No insurance, no tax, but I paid in cash. This was about 1983, had no first gear. It was just about got me home from Lyme, not Regis, Lyme Studios.
Lime Grove.
Lime Grove, BBC, where I was doing one of my first jobs. And the big hole in the bottom, and it really was, and you could see the floor, and it reminded me of the Flintstones, where they put their feet through the bottom and, toddle along.
Tony Slattery, occasionally you say something that it takes my breath away. You worked at Lime Grove.
I did, yeah, for about lovely Art Deco preserved, and I worked with Sandy Toksvig and a man called Patrick Doyle, who has gone on to be a very famous composer of film and in his own right, brilliantly talented. And it was an odd combination, me and Sandy Toksvig and Patrick Doyle, and it was called 60 Minutes, and it ran from 6 to 7 on the BBC, and it was meant to be the future of news and broadcasting based on the American model, and there was a satirical bit on the day's news, as it were, a sideways look, as it used to be called. So we all got in at about 6:30 in the morning and went through the papers, came up with an idea, either with music, and the costume department was there, said anything you want, makeup, anything, and so we did it. And the first one, because it was in the news, it was Dallas of Dynasty, that was the news. So I was Sue Ellen, Sandy Toksvig was the poison dwarf. I'm not going there with that because she's small, but she's not poisonous. She's delightful and very prominent and good activist in so many ways.
Yes, indeed.
And there was Patrick Doyle. He was Sue Ellen. I think, I can't remember. It was anyway, the three of them. So I was not Peggy Sue, Barbara, who was she?
Sue Ellen.
Yeah, Patrick Doyle was Sue Ellen, who played, and the makeup department and everything. And so we did it as a 3-minute sketch at the very first, and it was live. But there was a kind of dress rehearsal, and the head producer came down and said, "I'm sorry, no," because they didn't want to take the risk. The next day we did it, and every day we tried to do it. Something else, according to, we would call a special correspondence, and a very expensive show to make, and a vanguard show for the BBC, stepping into new territory. It was closed after 3 months because, one, it was terrible. It was a complete mishmash. It has some really good correspondence on it. I always thought that the problem was the introductory music. It wasn't like Newsline or anything like that. This is exactly how it went. And it was meant to be, exciting. And, oh, this is interesting. The problem was it didn't fit because the headlines were, "Hello, welcome to 60 Minutes. Thousands dead in earthquake in Thailand. Assassination attempt on the governor of Namibia. And recent floods have killed unknown people in Yugoslavia." and we'll talk about the fate of Patrick, the white rhino in London Zoo. That's a first, isn't it, Sally? That's right. Over to you, Desmond. Yes. Well, famine is a bad thing. I'm sorry. And you think that's some kind of attempt at gross hyperbole, but that's the way it was, and it only lasted 3 months. So another curio.
That's like the thing Charlie Brooker said about the One Show, where you would get, because it's a magazine show, you'd get quite serious and then a bit of light fluff, and the mood would just suddenly shift.
Oh, of course.
And then they had that game where they had people trying to read segments from the One Show, and the one that stuck with me was Patrick Marber will be riding a unicycle around the tuberculosis ward of the National Museum of Infanticide.
But, Alan, it's the same principle.
Yeah, absolutely.
The indiscriminate suddenness of switching between pictures of a kitten falling off, which has gone viral, 20 million views, a dog chasing its own tail, and right up against what's happening in Guam or Ethiopia. Yeah, and it's quite hard to take.
I wonder if that's why, because there have been a few attempts to get semi-satirical news off the ground in this country, and they've never really flown. There was one a couple of years back with Charlie Brooker and Jimmy Carr, David Mitchell and Lauren Laverne.
10 o'clock live.
That was it, yeah. And I enjoyed parts of that, but it was kind of... You've got David Mitchell doing his David Mitchell ranty stuff, but then he's also the intellectual heavyweight interviewer.
Yeah.
So his role wasn't terribly clear. Jimmy Carr is pathologically incapable of taking anything seriously because he just doesn't... He is... All he is a joke machine. He doesn't have any other gears. Lauren Laverne, obviously is a credible media presence, but not really associated with hard news. And Charlie Brooker is kind of... He just calls people names, and often very funnily.
Yes, but sorry, this is a personal thing. And was it live? No, it wasn't. It was pre-recorded, and like the utter despicable, fetid bane of every comedy show is the laughter track. And I said in one of my things where I was being interviewed by your wife, Erica, last night, where I talk about stuff and my glittering career in show business, was that I admitted my technophobia. I don't know that it's because I don't understand my brain. But that if I wanted an app, I believe I'm pronouncing that properly, an app which you could do to watch any program, any comedy, any sitcom, which had a laughter track, which is almost every one. Take away the laughter track and see if you laugh. See if you laugh once.
I don't know, actually, because I can think of one show where the inverse is true, which is the first series of The League of Gentlemen, which was originally broadcast with a laughter track, and it's an interesting document to watch because it's terribly apparent that the person who's put the laughter track on it has no idea what the show is or what it's about. And he's just inserting laughs. Wherever there's a pause in the action, he goes, oh, that's probably a punchline.
Hang on, but you said inverse.
Yes, so that show is much funnier without the laughter track.
Yeah, but that's what I was saying. So it's not an inversion.
No, I thought you were saying it's sort of a Pavlovian thing. You laugh when other people laugh.
Oh, that can be part of it, but it's still bloody irritating when you watch something and it's terribly poor.
It's the incredible lack of understanding of the audience to think that you can't hear when a laugh track is pre-recorded. By the way, it just goes, ha.
That's right. Oh, yeah. And it's still rife And I think it's a plague on every house.
Well, that's one of the ones where it really works is Dad's Army, because what you're listening to is the reaction of the first audience ever to see that episode of Dad's Army.
Yeah, that's correct.
It's a genuine. It's not pre-canned laugh. It's a laughter track, but it's not from a pre-recorded.
And what you get then is an amazing example of where this doesn't work. Is of course the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. They shot the first episode of that, and then it was shown to 200 fans at the National Film Theatre to record a laughter track. But then, of course, the actors don't think they're going to have a laughter track, so they are doing naturalistic delivery, and suddenly this laughter is riding over everything, and it was just, no, get rid of that, we're not doing it. Similarly...
sorry to interrupt. Are you saying... it didn't work?
It didn't work at all.
Because it drowned the dialogue.
It drowned the dialogue, but also you don't need, with Douglas Adams' humour, to be told when it's funny. And I think his humour's quite subjective anyway. I find certain things funny that maybe other people don't.
Of course.
And the other one I can think of is Timothy West, when he made his wonderful series Brass, which started in 1983, made up at Yorkshire Television, and that was absolutely going to be done as a straight sitcom. And he said, well, that's the deal breaker. There's no audience to this. If you want an audience, you don't have me. So they didn't have the audience. ITV, very panicked about this. But of course, you watch it now, you think that audience would have destroyed this look, because Timothy West would have probably upped the performance a bit for the audience. What you get here is comedy through reality. They're not playing gags, they're playing situation and character. And I think they would have been an emphasis on doing the opposite had they had that live audience there.
Which is why there's no laugh track on The Office, of course.
No, absolutely.
And
that will be destroyed.
Yes, it would. Yeah, absolutely. The fact that they all take themselves so seriously is most of the joke in The Office. It's one of the few things that the American sitcoms actually get right, is that they have a proper live studio audience, so the actors are responding to the laughs, so you don't get the dialogue drowned out, because if the audience keeps laughing, they just take another beat and wait for it to go. I mean, admittedly, the audiences are clearly pumped full of nitrous oxide beforehand, and they find even the lamest pun fucking hilarious.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I know that Friends, when that was in production, Friends used to record twice. It would record on Friday night, and it would record the following Tuesday with different audiences. Same performances, same camera, same everything. But then they could select what was the best laugh for each one. And there's only one time it's been tried in Britain, and that was in 1990 by BSB for their sitcom Heil, Honey, I'm Home.
Oh, you're right.
Adolf Hitler living next door to his Jewish neighbours, the Goldsteins. And that was performed on two different occasions. One occasion, they perform it to an average sitcom audience. And then they bring in an audience of students, and they get two different laugh tracks. That was the idea. Nobody laughed at it at all. Nobody. There was just no laughter to put in. It's bloody awful.
Yeah. Wasn't there only one episode broadcast before they axed it?
They broadcast the pilot, and there were so many complaints. The number of complaints vastly outweighed the number of people who had the equipment to receive the programme. So it was, they showed the pilot, and then that was it, and it was all denied. But the tapes still exist.
Right. You can cut this out. I'm blowing my own trumpet here. I wrote something called, you look it up on YouTube, it was called Tiger Bastable. And I wrote it with Richard Turner. And for some reason, they gave me quite a lot of autonomy. And so I could, unusually, was given the opportunity to say, no, I'd like this, please. And I said, okay, and we debate it, and we say, and so it was recorded in front of a live audience, and I had a hand in the casting, as opposed to leaving it all to the casting director. I had people I knew could do it, and would be brilliant. Like Graham Stark, for goodness sake, as my butler, Shenda Carey, Jim Sweeney, one of the greatest influences in my life, and on many improvisers, brilliant. And yes, I did, but he didn't have to audition because the choreographer knew what he could do. But it was in the Kit Kat Club, so it was kind of cabaret and Wehrmacht, Tiger Bastable, and the Nazi Mindbender. But I insisted that the laughter track was from the audience. a completely, random group of people. It was recorded, and the actors paused when necessary. So it was very natural. There was very little, in fact, no doctoring of life. I've got 17 scripts or outlines. The Monster of Minge Heath, which is about a pantomime horse in the Cotswolds, which goes mad. I've got...
that reminds me of Steve Aylett's line, that the funniest thing about a pantomime horse is the fact you have to shoot it twice.
I haven't got that in, thank you. There's also, you can cut most of this, there's the fatality of Fu Man Quim, who is... he's 3 inches tall, and he is a master of the little-known kung fu derivative Chinese art of Ma Ting Wu, which means he can disable people and decapitate them simply by either a really camp look or a phrase like that. And Tiger Baskerville has to fight with all his energy and cunning to stop the overthrow of the British Empire, like Terror of the Crimson Slash, which is about Stalinists invading Russia. Voodoo Slut God of the Amazon. That's another one. It's about a butler in the royal household who gets sacked unfairly, and he goes to Costa Rica, and he learns a particular trans-Pacific and Atlantic global verbal spell which bewitches all of high society, and so dames and duchesses start behaving like sluts and slatterns. The Duke of Edinburgh, this is the 1930s, is seen eating fish and chips from a newspaper and gobbing from the top of a tram on local passers-by.
This one was taken more or less verbatim from Paul Burrell's autobiography, I believe.
You win. Anyway, so cut that all back. Anyway, look it up on YouTube. I think it's rather funny.
It really stands up. And I think Tiger Baskerville was ahead of its time, because that kind of satire of the figures of empire, your Dan Dare, your what's the Bulldog Drummond?
Yep.
Those heroes of the British Empire. The Alan Moore did it with the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen back in the 80s, and it's kind of gathered pace since then. But it wasn't fashionable at the time you did Tiger Baskerville. So if you do watch it now, and it makes a great deal of sense. It fits into the milieu much better.
And you are very not harsh, but I say you don't. You don't.
You've done a lot of shite, Tony, but Tiger Baskerville's not part of it.
Cheers, I'm sorry, I can't argue with that. But I'm proud of Tiger Baskerville.
You should be.
And also, I think we're really hot in Belgium.
Oh, we are.
Well, all Belgians, I love Belgium, and do find it. And I think you'll like it. And if you don't, write to either Paul or Alan to complain, because I have no equipment to receive your ire and rancour.
Right, well, gentlemen, we have reached our destination. We are out of time once again, but that was a jolly enjoyable ramble. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank
you. So, if you can't wait until we are back with you, then I should say that, of course, you can access the wonderful world of the Rambling Club 24/7 via social media. So, Alan, how can they get hold of us there?
You can find us at tonyslattery.com or Tony's Twitter feed, which is at Slattery Live.
Mm-hmm. And you can find me on Twitter via at Paul Carmichael V. But until the next time, thank you very much for listening. So it's a goodbye from me, from Paul Carmichael, from Alan Lear.
Goodbye.
And from the president of Tony Slattery's Rambling Club, Mr. Tony Slattery.
Goodbye, thanks for listening.
You have been listening to Tony Slattery's Rambling Club with your host, the club president, Tony Slattery. He was accompanied by Stephen Free as the voice of the bingo machine. Tony was assisted by Paul Carmichael and Alan Lear. The music was composed and performed by Michael Livesley and Andy Friesel. Silly voices are by Michael Livesley and the show's concept is by Paul Carmichael. Our producers are Stuart Morris and Alan Deebing, and the show's series producers are Erika Lear and Mark Hutchinson. Our executive producer is Chris Kastle, and the series executive producer is Mark Strickson. Tony Slattery's Rambling Club is a Fanfanitel production.
You spend £200 million. I'm Sorrel, and I'm back for season 2 of the insanely lavish Rich Beyond My Wildest Dreams podcast, where hilarious guests get their hands on an imaginary £200 million jackpot on Euro Millions from the National Lottery.
I would buy tickets to go and see Backstreet Boys in the Sphere. I'd buy the Sphere! What are we talking about?
The bougier, the better.
Turned into a lunatic with all this money. I'm trying to buy Europe.
So get ready for confetti cannons, champagne, giant checks, and some of the most outrageous ways a person could possibly spend a £200 million fortune.
Jacuzzi karaoke.
Jacuzzi
karaoke.
You can get that Euro Millions feeling every Friday by searching for Rich Beyond My Wildest Dreams on all podcasting apps, YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok.
No one can fault you for trying.
All right now, love.
Yep. But cooking isn't for everyone. So, your dinner party has no dinner, but at least your table setting is immaculate. The candles, gorgeous. Softly scalloped champagne flutes, delightful. That pie might be burnt, but that speckled serving plate is straight up fire.
Don't worry, I can eat around it.
A blaze of glory. Whatever happens, style it out. F&F.
Acast recommends.
Hey up, this is Ian Smith.
And Amy Gledhill.
And we want to tell you all about our podcast.
Northern News.
But this isn't a news podcast.
No way. We're two Northerners living in London, and every week we catch up on the weirdest, most bizarre local news from up north.
And we've got special guests. We're talking about people like Phil Wang, Jessica Knappett, Ed Gamble, and Ross Noble, who joined us in the studio.
Woohoo!
Yeah.
That's Northern News, out every Thursday wherever you get your podcasts.
Acast is the home of podcasting,
including such shows as
The Logbooks, the High Performance Podcast, and the one you're listening to
right now.